Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ellie, I am from Austria and this is episode number 57. Hello, I am so glad you could join me once again. I have quite a few things to talk about today, so grab yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, anything you would like to drink. Today I am drinking coffee, and I think let's get started with the finished objects. And once again, on the floor, I still haven't sorted out the whole situation, but nevertheless I have two finished objects which I am really proud of, because both of these have been on my needles for a really long time, and when I mean really long time I mean more than a year. First off, I've got a pair of socks. This is the first finished object that I have. I made a sock tube. First time ever making something like that. I started with this one. It is a 2x1 rib, kind of self-drafted. I think I cast on 63 stitches because my normal sock circumference is 64 stitches, but because of the 3 stitch repeat, you need something you can divide by 3. And then I just knit. The goal for this was to use up all of this yarn. This is 100%, is it 100%? I don't think it's 100%, but it's Alpaka yarn. The company is called Kuntur. This is the color Lavendel. I got this yarn for Christmas 2 years ago now, I think, or almost 1.5 years ago. From my brother, and I didn't know what to make with it apart from just socks and using all of that one ball of yarn. So that's why I started making a sock tube. Then I, in typical fashion, lost motivation on it, and I put it on hold for a really long time, and then I picked it back up. I like using circumference, so circular needles, so I just knit in the round, and these have been like my go-to sock project for travels because it's very small and easy to put in the bag. And now they're finally done. I finished a sock tube also quite a while ago, but because I've never made a sock tube before and I didn't know with like putting in the toe and the heel what I have to do, I didn't want to think about it. I didn't have the brain space, to be honest. So one evening I just sat down because I really just wanted to get it out of my bag and out of my stash as well, and I knit the toe. It's a round toe, just a typical one, and then I made a, I don't know what this heel is called, I split the sock in two. So the sock tube, I split the sock tube in two, then I put both of the toes in. I didn't count the rows because I'm not too bothered if they're uneven lengths. I just wanted to get it done. I just wanted to get it out of my stash. So put in the sock, and then I just made this type of heel construction. And yeah, they don't fit great. The yarn is, because it's alpaca, it's very slippery. I had a pair of socks in this yarn before, and then I accidentally felted them because I had them in with my other washing, like all my other garments, and I accidentally washed them. And ever since they've been felted and I had to bin them. So this is the second ball from the gift. And like I said, they don't fit great. I don't think I will make this type of heel construction again, just because of the fit. I enjoyed making the sock tube because I could use up every last bit of that yarn, which was the goal, and I achieved that. I didn't have a lot left. I think maybe it was something like 10 centimeters. But yeah, it's just to get it out of my stash. I'm not sure if I will be keeping these or if I will donate them or just give them away. Probably not going to give them away to someone I know, just because I'm not too happy with how it turned out. And let me see if I could show you. So this is the sock, this is the fit. It's very slippery because of the alpaca yarn. I love the rib pattern. I experimented with sock fits, and I found out that I prefer to have a ribbed cuff and top of the foot, instead of just plain stockinette, because those really fit the best for me. And because it's a sock tube, it's also got a rib at the bottom of the foot. The fit, like the snugness of the sock, is perfect. As you can see, there is no like bagginess or whatever even up here. The only thing is it's very slippery, it gets too big, and the heel is, it's not great. It's just not. So yeah, but it was a fun project. They are done. I don't think I'll be wearing them a ton, but let me just put on my other sock again. But here we are, one finished object that has been on my needles for a really long time, and I'm really happy to get them out of my mind and just have them finished. The second finished object might be a little bit more exciting because it is a sweater. This is the My Sibling sweater, My Size by Laura Penrose. And I've had this on my needles for over a year now as well. I started this in January 2025 and I enjoyed this project so much, and then I got stuck. I finished the body, I was just before the rib of the body, and then I just totally lost motivation. I didn't want to work on it anymore, and I just put it in a bag and stored it somewhere. And when I was going through my whips, before I started something new, I wanted to finish something old, also to get back the needles. So I picked this one up because I only had the sleeves left to do. I started with the collar, so that was a huge success, me finishing the collar, because then you can really see the sweater take shape. The size, I made size 2, I think. I believe it was size 2, I'd have to check. Everything is linked down below, and you can find everything on my Ravelry page as well. I believe I made size 2. The fit is great. I love the sweater. I love the shoulder detail. I have to block it again and block it a little bit better to get all the wrinkled bits out. You can see it's still quite crunched up here, but you can easily fix that with just stretching this bit a little bit, and then it will lay flat. But because I blocked the sweater with the back side down, I didn't really had the chance to stretch that bit out. But the yarn is so nice. It's a little bit rustic, a little bit scratchy and itchy, but I loved working with the yarn. The yarn, I've got quite a few leftovers. Let me get it. First time trying this yarn. It is Filcolana Peruvian Highland wool, 100%. It's a DK weight, and I used color 101, so that's the off-white, and 973, which is like, it is a brown, but it's a little bit heathered, so it's not a true like rich brown. And I think it just looks so much like Kinder chocolate. I don't know why, but it reminded me of that when I was knitting on it. I loved working with the yarn. It's a very nice round non-superwash wool from what I know, and yeah, virgin wool, and I would definitely get this one again. Like I said, it's a little bit scratchy around the neck, but I don't wear my wool sweaters just skin on skin anyways, or skin on wool on skin, so that's how I say it. Anyways, so I'm sure it's fine. The fit is great. I just wish I made it a little bit longer. It's a little bit too short for my liking. I'm gonna see if I can stretch it and pull it a little bit more with blocking. If not, then it will just hit around my waist. It's a very oversized sweater, also since it's a drop shoulder, which is exactly what I wanted, and I had a lot of fun making the sleeves. And yeah, I can also highly recommend the pattern. It's very clear, just like her patterns always are, Laura's. And yeah, for the stripes itself, the inside doesn't look as neat as it probably could do, but I'm not bothered. I just want it to look good on the outside. What I did was, where is the side? Here is the side. So for the first few stripes I carried the yarn, but then I realized from the outside that even though the carrying point was very neat, you could still see the dark yarn on the white stripe, like on the side, and I didn't like that. I really hated the look of it, and that's why stripes have always kind of turned me off, because I don't want the sides to be super messy. So what I then did instead, and that is, it's a little bit more work, but I think it gives you a neater result. I just cut the yarn every single time, and then I wove in the ends, so you see like all of these ends kind of poking out, and I just wanted to have a little bit of slack just in case that I cut them too short and you'd see it on the outside. What I did was I switched yarns. I did a joggler stripe where you pick up one leg of the stitch below, put it on your needle, and then knit it together with the contrasting colour. That worked really well. I think you can't really see the jog on the outside. Here you can see what I meant with, you can see the other yarn peeking through. And that's not me stretching it, that's just me holding it, so you can clearly see where the other yarn was carried. And yeah, so because it's kind of like colour work, what I do is I carry both of the yarns on one hand, and then I just go with the working needle, go under the contrasting colour, and then with the next stitch over it, so it's kind of woven in already in between, and then you can just cut it. The other end where you started with the other colour, you do have to weave in, but once I did that, I was happy to go again for whatever many rounds I had to do for the stripe. So it wasn't a huge hassle. I quite enjoyed doing that because I just did it on the go and not left it all to the end. So yeah, that was a lot of rambling about this sweater. I'm really happy with the result. I can highly recommend the pattern. I would just be a little bit careful about the collar. It seems it's a very chunky collar, and that also might be due to the yarn and the smaller needle. It looks a bit too chunky for my liking, but the overall fit and the end result of the whole sweater kind of makes up for it again. So yeah, really happy with this one. Another project that has been on my needles for quite some time now has been finished, so of course I had to cast on some new things. I will start with something that you will already have seen in the last episode. And something you will see a lot more of, because it's a blanket. I started a blanket last time and I have made some progress on it. I'm just gonna leave it being folded. It's just a very, like, I just cast on however many stitches I kind of wanted to, and then it's just a plain garter stitch blanket. I'm doing stripes once again, just because I want to get rid of all of these really colourful one balls of yarn, and this is where I'm at. So down here the contrast colour, or no, the main colour is Drops Big Merino Super Wash Wool in the colour 19. It's like a beige colour. It's got a little bit of a pink hue to it for my eye, but I think it works really well with all of the colours. I just wanted something kind of neutral and something I knew I wouldn't really like wear, so that's why it's going into this blanket. Last time I already had the yellow stripe, and I believe I was either finished with this one or halfway through, and now I'm on to this really nice pink one. So this is where we're at. I can't really tell you that much about the colours, to be honest, because they're all, the coloured ones are all Drops Air, because I had quite a lot of Drops Air of these like single skeins, because I wanted to make a colourwork sweater once, and the pattern used all of these different Drops Air colours, but then I didn't feel like it anymore, so I had to just leave it and find something else for me to use it, and that's where we're at. The colour I'm currently using, I think it's this label, it's called number 25, and this will be the sequins. So you have this pink one, then you have a dark red, and then it goes up to blue, turquoise, green. There is a petroleum blue in between here, green, brown, grey, and this like mismatched grey, beige, quartzy colour. I've been trotting along with this project. It's definitely not a priority, and it does take quite a while to go from one end to the other and use up one ball of Drops Air. I mean, you saw how thick the stripes are. But it's nice to have something mindless on the side, and this would definitely be on the side for a really long time. Like I said, just because it's not a priority, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with this blanket anyway, so it's just something to occupy my hands when I don't feel like thinking. That's my first whip. And then my second whip is something I picked up as well. This has been a long-term whip, kind of. I started this last summer, and then summer came and went, and then it was autumn and winter, and I didn't want to work with like linen yarn and cotton yarn, so that's kind of why it's been hibernating, and I picked it back up. This is a pattern by Gregoria Fibers, and it's called something I have just forgotten, so I'm gonna put it in somewhere here. This is where I'm at. It's a drop shoulder summery sweater with this beautiful eyelet pattern, eyelet and pearl bumps pattern. It's very oversized, it's very big. I am making size 1 to get the smallest positive ease possible, because I don't want to be drowning in it. And last time I think I finished one front. I was just about to join in the round. I realized I made a mistake, so I had to rip back for about 20 centimeters, which really hurt, because this eyelet pattern is not for the weak, and working with this yarn also isn't. The yarn that I'm using is Drops Bell in just the off-white beige base. This is colour number 3, and Drops Bell is 53% cotton, 33% viscose and 14% linen. I have so much of this yarn. When I bought this yarn, I had the intention to make this summer sweater, so I know I have enough, but it's so dry on my hands. I know there are drier yarns out there, but I don't really enjoy working with it because it hurts my fingers. So I've been going on with this every once in a while. I have now joined in the round. It's a 10 stitch repeat, or 10 row repeat should I say. So what I'm trying to do, because there is still so much left of the body, that's just the beginning of the body, and because there's so much left, I'm trying to do 1 repeat a day if I can. If not, then I can't. I'm not going to force myself, but I would really like to have this finished fairly soon. When I say fairly, I mean like August, because this has been on my needles for a long time, and I do want the finished object, but at the same time I just want to get it out of my stash. I just want to get the yarn out of my stash because it's such a big quantity that I have. It takes up space, and at the same time I want to make something that I might potentially also actually wear that's made out of cotton. The pattern is very clear. I had no troubles. It was just I didn't read the pattern properly. That's why I made this big mistake. That's totally on me, and I like the look of it, but now with the body, because it's quite a big circumference with so much positive ease, more than I'm used to, it takes such a long time to make all of the eyelets that I'm not gravitating towards this project, because I just want something easy most of the times. But yeah, it's still coming along. I'm still you know, working on it every other day. It's living in my petite knit bag for now. It has been for a while now, so I want to get back this bag as well. So I will try and put a little bit more focus on it, obviously, as much as my hands will allow that. Okay, I have 2 more whips. One is also a long-term project. This is probably the oldest one I have shown so far. This is the Pippin sweater by Sophie. I started this, I don't even know, I think it was back in 2024, just when it came out. I don't even know what size I'm making. 2, 3, 1, I have no idea. I lost motivation on it because you use a sand stitch. It has this beautiful texture, but it's so time consuming because every other row it's a knit purl row, so it takes a lot of time. I have finished I've not even finished anything, to be honest. I finished a collar and I split for sleeves. I still have to do the rest of the body, and I'm just on 1 sleeve. I have 2 more decreases to do on the sleeve before I can start with the cuff. You work on 4mm needles, so it's a DK weight sweater. From what I remember, it's a compound raglan, so it should fit a little bit better around the armholes because of the different increase rates compared to the body and the sleeve sections. I think I put this on and I didn't love it, but I do want to finish this because it's been such a long time and I put so much effort and energy into this project that I would like to have the finished object, but my body changed over the years, which means that the fit isn't what I would now go for. So we'll see if I will love it or if I'll hate it, but I do want to finish it. The yarn that I'm using is Drops Daisy, also not the best choice. This is 100% non-superwash wool. I bought this when it just came out, when Drops Daisy just came out. This is colour number 2. I believe it's called Marzipan. It's a really nice beige colour. As you can tell, I quite like beige because I think it just goes with everything and it works really well with my skin tone and my hair colour. This is a DK weight. It's very soft, but that's also where the problem lies. Because it's so soft, it pills like crazy, and I didn't know that because I started this sweater before I finished my sweater number 9 light, the light version. I made that over a year ago. I don't even know when I made it, but I made that also in Drops Daisy, and I cannot wear that sweater because it pills so easily that it just looks so scruffy, and I don't want that in my sweaters. I love working with the yarn, don't get me wrong, it's a very nice soft yarn, but I think for what it is, there are better options out there also for that price point, because I know Drops in general is quite cheap, and this one for 100% non-superwash wool is also very cheap, but I would now rather spend a little bit more money on something that I know I will love wearing and that will hold up. For example, Peruvian Highland wool by Filcolana, then go back to something like this. That's my dilemma. That's why I have been putting off working on this sweater for such a long time, because I was really unsure if I wanted to finish it, even though I know the yarn will create issues, and I'm just hoping with this texture it won't be as bad, but I don't know. I've not worked with this yarn and the textured stitch, so I don't know what the end result will be. I also don't swatch. That's like a probably also an issue, but I can't be bothered with it. I don't enjoy swatching. I have made so many swatches. I store them all in here. I don't know what to do with them, so I'm just a big hater of swatching for like very standard things that I'm not too fussed about if the fit isn't what it should be or what the pattern says that it should turn out like. Anyways, going back to this, the pattern is very clear. It's a little bit too much information for my liking, just because I would say I'm a fairly experienced knitter. It might be really good for someone who's never really made a lot of sweaters before, or even a sweater before. For me, it's just a little bit too much text, but that's kind of what she does and what she's known for with her patterns. It's just kind of not for me. But yeah, I will finish this sleeve fairly soon. That's the goal. I only picked this up a few days ago to work on the sleeve, and we'll see what's what with this one. And then the last whip that I have, I'm sorry, I'm scratching my nose every 2 minutes, but it's really itchy and the wool is not helping. The last whip that I've been working on, and I put a lot of focus into this one because I'm really enjoying it, is not a sweater, not a t-shirt, something completely different for me. It's actually a bag. This is what it looks like. This is the Diane bag by Sari Nordlund. It's got this beautiful eyelet stitch pattern. You use a lot of leftovers and yarn overs and knit 3 togethers, but it looks so good. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. You can find the pattern in her book Summer Knits. I bought this last year or the year before. I'm really happy with it. I made one project from this book before, and this is what it will look like at the end. You have these really gorgeous eyelets, and then it's just a round bottom at the bottom. You work on 3mm needles, and I had this yarn in my stash for a really long time. This is 100% linen yarn, and now you might know why I put a lot of focus into this, but I cannot work on it in like one piece. This is Lino Mūka wool by WOLLEN Berlin. This is what the label looks like. Focus. Yeah, there we go. This is what it looks like. This is a light fingering weight. The strand is really thin. It's just barely noticeable, barely there. And on the label it says this is the color light rose, 100% linen, and it tells you the gauge. So held single is 30 stitches per 10 centimeters, held double 25, held triple 20. Because the pattern says I need a DK, I believe it was a DK weight, let me just check. Yeah, 20 stitches is the gauge recommended from the pattern. I'm holding it triple. So I've got 3 strands of really incredibly thin 100% linen yarn. The yarn is so dry and it hurts my fingers so much that I can only work on this in very short periods of time. But I am enjoying it so much. It is a 4-row repeat to get this beautiful pattern going on. The reason why I wanted to use up this yarn, and I have a lot of it as well, I originally wanted to make my mum a cardigan out of it, but then I got it and I didn't realize how thin it actually was and how unenjoyable it would be to work with. So I've had this in my stash for 4 or 5 years now, I think, ever since I started knitting, which is also a while ago now. And I didn't know what to make with it, and I thought this time this might actually be the perfect project for it, because I know I will never wear this color next to my skin. I don't enjoy having t-shirts on my body, knitted t-shirts, so I would just make it into an accessory, and here we are. The pattern is very straightforward. I thought it was very fast to make the first bits. So these will be the handles. You start up here, then you have a purl row, which is gonna be the fold, and then you knit the same amount of stitches as you did for the upper part, and then you go into this beautiful lace pattern with increases. And for the increases you have a chart, and for the rest of the stitch pattern is just a repeat kind of what you were doing before anyways. So now it's just a matter of knitting until I feel like the bag is big enough. I don't think I want it to be as big or as deep as the pattern recommends, also because I don't know how much this yarn will actually stretch once something heavy is in it, because I want to use this bag as like a summer swimming bag when I go to the lake for a swim. That is the intention for this one, but we'll see how much I can put in, how durable it will all be. And yeah, I know the linen yarn is really hard on my hands now, and I know it will soften over time. I can even feel it on like these bits here, that it is a lot softer already, just because they've been dangling like this for a while now. So I know it will get better, and I know linen takes some time before it gets really soft and nice to wear also next to skin. But until then it will take some time. Right, so those were all of my whips. I do have a lot now again on my needles. There are so many beautiful patterns that I want to cast on. I also ordered some yarn, which I'm going to show you next time. I'm really excited about that one because it's hand-dyed yarn. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. Let me know in the comments what you're working on, what summer projects you have on your needles, or if you have any on your needles. And I'm gonna see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye.